chop it to the beat. Tailgate every Sunday, yeah, we bleed that red and gold. Kansas City Chiefs, it's time to take control. Now stop and do the nay-nay. Scored another touchdown, now it's time to hit the balls. Now stop and do the nay-nay. Scored another touchdown, now it's time to hit the balls. Now hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. Now hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it.
What's up, everybody? You are tuned into the Arrowhead Chief Podcast. I'm your host, Cris, episode 29. We are here. Preseason is here. Chiefs had a game yesterday. We're going to talk about some things about the game, some things that I've seen from the game, give you my evaluations on certain units and certain players. So let's get right into it. We all know what we wanted to see from this team, from this first offense, was the offensive line. Was the offensive line going to show that they have potential? Because it's still early, but did they have potential to be a solid union? And you know what? They came out and they showed that they have potential to be a solid unit. Everybody played well. Everybody on the offensive line. Everybody was worried about Lucas Nguyen. Nguyen held his own. Orlando Brown held his own. The interior, they look like these guys are going to be some monsters in the pass pro and in the run game. Because first play out the gate, when the team got the ball on offense, they went straight for the gusto and straight forward and ran with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he got 10 yards straight out the bat. This offensive line is going to be nasty. Trey Smith, Creed Humphrey, Joe Tooney. This inside interior is going to be nasty. But as a whole, this offensive line looks like it's going to have some juice. The running game looks like it's going to be much improved, much better. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see how it all goes down and how everything's going to look. The offensive line looked good. Patrick Mahomes and the first offense, they only have 4 plays. Pat looked, he looked like he was comfortable in the pocket for the most part. Got a couple passes off, one to Tyreek Hill, one to Travis Kelce. There was a pass that was thrown to Mecole Hardman. Now, everybody was getting on Mecole saying that he dropped it. I felt like the pass was kind of low. And if you look at the clip, it looked like he wasn't ready for the pass. Now, I'm not trying to make excuses for Mecole Hardman, but I think that when you see the play, he got bumped. And then as soon as he turns around, the ball is like right there at his hip. And I thought the ball was a little low, but I'm not gonna overreact over Mecole Hardman dropping that pass. But the first offense, they're gonna be fine. I'm not worried about them. I'm not worried about that first offense. I was just wanted to see that offensive line, and the offensive line looks pretty good. Now let's get into this defensive line. Because the defensive line looks like we are about to have one of the more disruptive defensive lines in this league. This defensive line came ready to play. Chris Jones was flying all over the place. Turk Warden was flying all over the place. Tim Ward was flying all over the place. This defensive line looks like it is poised to have a great season. Jarran Reed, I kept telling y'all that Jarran Reed was going to be the more underrated pickups this season. And lo and behold, I am right. It is one of the more underrated pickups for this season. I keep telling y'all that this was going to be a huge get, and he showed it tonight. He was in the middle, being disruptive, being that player that I told you guys that we were going to get. And I was happy to see that. This defensive line, and mind you, Frank Clark didn't play, Alex Okafor didn't play, Taco Charlton didn't play, and Derek Nottie didn't play. So you add those guys to the mix, and we really got something going here. I think this defensive line is going to be disruptive. I think they're going to be better against the run this year because the past few seasons, the run defense hasn't been that good. So I think we'll be better against the run. I think we are going to get more pressure on the quarterback this year. It's going to be a good rotation. Colin Saunders looked good out there, being disruptive up the middle. Tim Ward coming off the edge. He even had a sack to end the game. He had a couple sacks. Just Turk Warden was out there being disruptive, stripped the ball from Trey Lance. Just an overall good look from the defensive line. Now let's get into this cornerback, the secondary. Everybody had, their main issues with the secondary. I thought, for the most part, DeAndre Baker looked good, Mike Hughes looked good, and Rashad Fitton looked good. All three of these guys are battling for that third cornerback position. And I'm telling you guys, those three guys came to play. DeAndre Baker, he looked good. Anything short of phenomenal. Now, I know he pulled up with a little bit of an injury. I think he had cramps or something like that. Andy Reid didn't really I don't even think Andy Reid mentioned him in the injury report. So it's probably nothing serious. Just pulled up with cramps because, he was out with the little injury. So he probably hasn't got a lot of run. It's going to happen in preseason. Guys are going to get cramps, hamstrings, muscle strains, back spasm, things of that nature. So I'm not worried about that. Mike Hughes, not only did he look good as a corner out there playing defense, but he looked good with punt return and kickoff return. It was interesting that they put him out there, and they didn't put Mecole out there. They didn't put Byron Pringle out there. They put Mike Hughes out there, and Mike Hughes looked like he was built for being a punt and kickoff returner. I like what I saw from him. So I suggest that they keep him out there as a punt and kickoff returner because I think he played very, very well. Now, let's get to the other part of the secondary, the safeties. Let's talk about Juan Thornhill. Now, look, I've been listening to certain people, other podcasts. I listened to the KC Laboratory. I listened to Arrowhead Pride with Pete Sweeney and Steven Serta earlier. And the topic of Juan Thornhill came up. And I even saw it on my Twitter timeline, people talking about Juan Thornhill. Now, for the most part, I thought Juan Thornhill played a pretty good game. Earlier in the game, he was stepping up in the run, making good stops in the run. I think it was the play where Daniel Sorensen whiffed on the play, and Juan Thornhill came up, stepped up, and stopped the running back from getting the first down, if I'm not mistaken. But I know Juan Thornhill made some very good plays. But as soon as he had one bad play, it was just like the whole timeline, everybody's talking about, I'm concerned about Juan Thornhill. And they were concerned because he was playing late in the game. Personally, I just think that the Kansas City Chiefs want to get Juan Thornhill get his confidence back up. Get his mindset ready to go for the regular season. He's coming off of a major injury 2 years ago. Last year, he didn't look too good. In the beginning, he didn't look good. He started coming on at the end of the year. AFC Championship game, he looked good. But then he kind of had a little, setback. Didn't really play in the Super Bowl. And here we go, fast forwarded now. He said he's 100%. He ended up getting a groin injury, which kind of, was a setback. Which that's why we're going to talk about Devin Key in a minute. But Juan Thornhill, to me, looks like he's poised to have a good season. I think everybody should just taper down their concerns with Juan Thornhill. Yes, is it a little bit alarming that they consistently put Dirty Dan over him in the starting lineup? But I just think that I think that Spags and I think Andy Reid, they just love them some Dirty Dan. But I think as the season progresses, Juan Thornhill will be over Dirty Dan in the lineup. If you don't remember, Juan Thornhill's his rookie season, they slated Dirty Dan ahead of him. Then in most of the preseason, Dirty Dan was ahead of Juan Thornhill all of preseason. Came game one, week one, Juan Thornhill was inserted in the starting lineup. And personally, I think if he consistently shows that he can be trusted, that the injury's not going to set him back, he's still flying around, playing good football, I believe that he's going to be inserted right back into the starting lineup. With Dirty Dan being that third safety and Devin Key kind of being the other safety that comes in rotation. And let's get into Devin Key. Now, Devin Key had one, bad play where Trey Lance, and, Trey Lance looks like he might be a little bit of a baller. He got an arm on him. Some things he needs to work on as a rookie, but that's neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about Trey Lance. But Trey Lance, did a play action pass. Devin Key got caught looking in the backfield, got turned around, wide receiver got open, touchdown. But he said, he made up for it when Juan Thornhill, receivers coming across the middle or the tight end. Juan Thornhill, looked like he fell or got ran over. It happens. But Devin Key saved the team from giving up another touchdown. So he redeemed himself. So there was a bad play from Devin Key, but there's a good play. And that shows me that the kid can take something that bad that happens, erase it out of his head, and go on to the next play. And that's all you can ask for with when these players, when they give up something bad. If Mecole Hardman drops a pass, what you want to see, I want to see in the next play when they give him the ball, did that last drop affect his brain? Or is he coming back, boom, I caught the next ball? Is Juan Thornhill, if he gives up a run or gives up a pass, the next play, is he right there breaking it up? It's all about taking the bad part, erasing it out of your memory, and going on to the next play. That's the difference between the good to the great players. So I'm not worried about Juan Thornhill. I liked what I saw. I thought Devin Key had a solid game. I think the secondary, of course, with Tyrann Mathieu, I think the secondary is going to be just fine. I have no problem with Jarius Sneed. He was making some plays when he played. I have no problem with the secondary. Now let's talk about Noah Gray. Now, there was a lot of hoopla and, a lot of, talk about Noah Gray making plays in training camp, looking good in training camp. He was looking good at OTAs, looked good in training camp so far. Maybe he had like one bad day, but for the most part, Noah Gray has looked good in training camp, is the consensus. I believe that today or yesterday, Noah Gray had a little bit of the butterflies. I think he has some butterflies coming out in this game. Now, I don't blame him for the interception. I thought Chad Henne put too much mustard on the football. I thought it was behind him. Now, I could be wrong, and Noah Gray may have ran the wrong route, but from what I saw, I thought Chad Henne put too much on the ball. Instead of laying it out there, for him to catch it, he threw it behind him, put too much smoke on it. It is what it is. But for the most part, I'm not worried about Noah Gray. I think the next game he will redeem himself, and as the season go on, he will be a piece, an offensive cog in this offense, a weapon that Andy Reid will figure out to use and have certain packages for him to use. Now, if he doesn't show improve, then he'll get less and less run, and which will open the door for the next guy, Jody Fortson. Now, did Jody Fortson blow the roofs off today? No, he did not. But what I will say about Jody Fortson was that he showed some flashes. He showed some flashes as a receiver, especially on that last drive, the one-handed catch to get him down to like I want to say the 10-yard line to eventually, win the game and, with Shane Buechele ran the football in. But he showed some flashes. And I want to see him build upon those flashes going into the next game and so on and so forth. But I'm not worried about Noah Gray. I just think he had a little bit of the jitters. I think he'll be all right. He got his first taste of an NFL football game. Let's see how he does, against the Cardinals. Now, to me, the player of the game, the guy who gets the game ball for me, is Jared McKinnon. I kept telling y'all about Jared McKinnon. I told you, if this guy can stay healthy, he's going to be an offensive weapon. The kid, he's the running back that we did not have on this roster, the home run hitter. No disrespect to Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Darrell Williams, but those guys are more so power pushers. They run between the tackles. Clyde is a small but stocky dude. He's not a burner. Darrell Williams is not a burner. But Jared McKinnon is a burner. He could catch it out the backfield and take it 30 yards down the field, 40 yards up the field for a touchdown. He has that type of ability, and he showed it today in limited time. Running the football, catching the football. I'm excited to see what Jared McKinnon can do in this offense. I'm really excited. As long as he can stay healthy, he'll be okay. He even made a special teams play just to show I'm trying to make this team. Which brings me to the next person, Darwin Thompson. Look, man, I don't think he's going to make the squad, especially if you're on the bubble and you're pretty much the fourth, and he knows he's the fourth running back. Can't be going out there getting stupid penalties, man. You can't be going out there taunting another player. He might have said something to you. You got to walk past that. You got bigger fish to fry, man. You trying to make a roster spot. Your spot is not guaranteed. And for him to do what he did, and I'm not sitting there acting like it was egregious. I've seen far worse. He put his helmet against the dude's chest, flexing his muscle. And I get it. Testosterone is high. Guys are out there playing football. I get it. It's a man sport. But I think you got to be logical and think about the situation at hand. And Darwin Thompson, I think he might have played his way out of Kansas City. I could be wrong, but I think he played his way out of Kansas City. And with the night Jared McKinnon had, we might not see Darwin Thompson no more. So my other game ball goes to Tommy Townsend, the punter. I know, give the game ball to the punter, but man, he was booting them balls all the way down to the 1 yard line. He looks like his leg is strong. He's got that confidence. I know everybody was down on Tommy Townsend. He didn't look good in the Super Bowl. I think he had the jitters in the Super Bowl. But I think this year Tommy Townsend wants to prove that he's one of the better punters in this league. He looked good. I'm excited to see what Tommy Townsend can do this season. That's the football nerd in me, guys. I'm sorry. I know he's a punter, but hey, sue me. So my overall evaluation of the game was, guys, there's still work to be done. This is definitely not the finished product, but this was a good building block. Also, shout out to Doris Fountain. He had a pretty good game too. Made some good catches. Cornell Powell at the end of the game made some decent catches. But for the overall, it was a good start, good foundation to build upon. I'm sure they'll look at the film, build upon it, and take it into the Cardinals game, so on and so forth. So that's my review for today's game. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, if you want to follow me, if you're new to listening to me, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, all Arrowhead Chief Podcast. Arrowhead Chief Podcast. You can follow me on all those social media outlets. And if you're also new, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're on YouTube too. Subscribe to any streaming platform: Spotify, Google, Apple, or Stitcher, Breaker, whatever whatever streaming platform you listen to your podcast on, Arrowhead Chief Podcast is on there. So I want to thank y'all, appreciate y'all, and I'm gone.